This conference will now be recorded.
All right, guys. Good morning, all. Before we try to start today's session, I'm just trying to give a small recap of what all points I kept in my last class related to this particular SAP training program. And I'm going to be signing up to this session. Now, I was trying to basically explain that you're going to be getting trained in these particular areas as part of this particular learning program. You're going to be getting trained on SAP sales and distribution as one area. Second, logistic execution. And third is going to be the project workshop. Now, when we try to talk about this particular sales and distribution, we try to learn how you're going to be building SAP application to map client requirements related to sales. How client want to use this particular SAP application to record sales related transaction is what we try to focus and develop. Okay, so there are going to be different areas as part of the sales and distribution module we are going to be working out as well. And apart from that, we try to handle the activities related to the shipment and transportation, and we try to basically understand what exactly is going to be the role of a consultant as a part of different projects as well. So in the real time, if you get an opportunity to work in this particular project, how exactly you need to handle it. Let it be a concept of implementation project, upgradation project, or support environment. And I'm going to be conducting this particular training as mentioned on S4HANA, which is going to be the modern application. New technology, what SAP has introduced in the market. So before S4HANA came into the existence, all companies were using SAP ECC version. Now this is going to be totally outdated. Going ahead, I can say in another 2 to 5 years, no companies will be using ECC platform to work. It's going to be an outdated software. We are going to be replacing the ECC with S4HANA. So a lot of companies are trying to basically go for upgrading their application. That is what we call it as upgradation project. In upgradation project, what happens? Companies which are using old version will be moving to S4 HANA if they want to stay with SAP. So you need to know how exactly the things are going to be working on S4 HANA. At the same time, we are going to be looking into the changes. Why companies need to get into S4 HANA, and if you're trying to move the data from ECC to S4 HANA as a consultant, what is going to be your role in upgradation project? We are going to be looking into all that particular activities and we try to map it. And to support this particular training, I'm going to be providing you with the documents. There are going to be books you need to refer. These books are not going to be helping you in getting the knowledge. If you want to go for preparation yourself for the interviews as well for the certification, I'm going to be helping you out with that. Okay. And I was trying to explain few things related to SAP in my last class. I was trying to talk about this particular term. You may be hearing people calling it as SAP. Please don't try to call it as SAP. We have an abbreviation maintained for that, where it stands for System Application and Products in Data Processing, and it's going to be an ERP software. Like SAP, in the market, we are having different ERP softwares available. Depending upon the business scalability, how much amount they can spend in using the application, they will be purchasing it. Now, there are a lot of manufacturing companies which is using SAP application for their business. trading companies and service oriented companies as well are using it. And the reason why these companies are trying to use SAP only for this particular reason. There are going to be three major reasons why they want to use SAP application for. One, to keep a record of day-to-day transaction. Let it be related to sales, let it be related to purchase, inventory management, or when you're trying to work with finance related activities, incoming payments, outgoing payments, or HR related activities, they want to keep a record of each and every transaction. Stock coming in, stock going out, incoming payment, outgoing payment, everything. If they keep a record of these transactions, they can go for running the reports. With the help of that reports, they can do the data analysis as well. These are the three major reasons why company will be using this particular software for. And in SAP, you're going to be having different modules to work. Almost you're having 200 plus modules to work on SAP. Let it be part of functional, technical, or IS solution. So you're going to be starting your career as an SD consultant. I was trying to explain what modules are going to be part of your logistics, FICO, and HCM. So these are going to be three different functional areas where you can work. Depending upon your domain experience, education background, you can pick up which is going to be best suited for you as part of your functional, and you can get trained on it. Now, if you want to work on SAP, there is only one prerequisite. You need to have good knowledge with the computers. No one can help you out with that. Second is going to be having knowledge on Microsoft Office. You need to know how to work out with your Excel, Word, presentations. Because in real time, you need to use those things very frequently. And we were trying to work and talk about the sales and distribution. What exactly the sales and distribution is module all about? You will be hearing two terms in the market. One is going to be SAP sales and distribution, and second is going to be S/4HANA sales. Both of them represent the same thing, not different. Only thing, this was a naming convention when we worked with old system, ECC. When you're trying to work out on S/4HANA, the name has been replaced by S/4HANA sales. And when we try to talk about this as a module, what exactly we are going to be dealing, these are the three activities we try to focus on: order, delivery, billing. So we are going to be looking into a concept called as sales cycle. This is what we try to basically focus on. How we are going to be recording the company's sales transaction in SAP software, we try to learn that. Where the process is going to be starting with order, then we try to deliver the stock, followed by billing and incoming payments. Now my question is simple. Each and every business will be having the same process itself, or the process can be changed. Mostly it's going to be same. Like first step is going to be customer will be placing an order. Then we try to deliver the stock. We raise an invoice. We collect the payment. Each industry will be following the same practice of selling the product, or it may vary. Any chance of doing this one in a different way? So in service, you don't deliver the product. You straight away go for order, followed by billing and payment. Now, we have different concept as well, prepaid orders. In prepaid orders, what happens? The first step is going to be sales order. Second step, we raise an invoice, we collect the payment, and then we try to deliver the stock. Right? So every business will be having their different sales process. It's not that this is going to be the standard one. We try to map it. Depending upon the business requirements, we are going to be modifying it as well. Okay. This is a typical example what in most of the business you're going to be following it. In some business, you're going to be following sales order as our first step, and we try to go for raising a billing document. We go for collection of the payments. Incoming payments will be done. And then we have the concept of delivering the stock. Right. Now, this is one business process. Now we have one other business process as well over here. Now, first step would be contracts. You need to sign an agreement. Okay. So contract is nothing but an agreement. You need to work out with an agreement over here. Then we need to release that particular agreement, which we try to perform it as a release sales order. Once the order is going to be created, we try to work out with delivery. We deliver the stock. Then we try to raise a billing document. And with reference to that billing documents, we go for collection of the payments. So this is going to be a different process which is going to be practiced in the industries. That is what, as an SD consultant, is what you're going to be focusing on. Basically, when you're trying to work as an SD consultant in any of the project, first you need to understand the business process. How exactly the company sales is being performed. What is going to be the first step? What is going to be the last step? How the process start? How the process end? Accordingly, you're going to be building the system and map the business requirements. So that is what this particular training is all about. So when you get a requirement from the business, how exactly it is not going to be done. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, coming back over here. Now, when we try to talk about this particular business process, now who will be recording this one? This is going to be the role of the people who work on the front end application. So whenever you try to deal with SAP, you're going to be having two screens to execute and work on. One, we try to call it as front end, and second is going to be the back end. Now, people who work on the front end application, we are going to be naming them as end users. So their job role is going to be only recording day-to-day transactions. So let it be related to sales transaction, purchase transaction, production transaction. They work on SAP application for recording day-to-day transactions. Consultants will be working on the backend, where we try to develop SAP application. Okay. Now, in SAP world, we are not going to be using develop. We are going to be calling it as build. We are going to be building the product based on the requirement. We are not going to be calling it as a develop because we have a broader meaning for this build. When we talk about this particular build, this is nothing but we try to use standard solution available in SAP. Along with that, we try to deal with custom solution as well. Build is nothing but combination of standard plus custom. Standard means readily available in the system to meet the business requirements. Customs we need to develop because in SAP we don't have a standard solution. So you need to develop the solution in SAP application. So that is the reason we try to call it as a build. And you're going to be hearing this particular naming conventions very frequently when you try to read your job descriptions. Whether you have experience in developing the application or building the application, you need to know exact difference on it. You have any experience working on the front end and the back end as well. Yep. And that is what we are going to be focusing on. We try to get hands-on experience working on the back end as well as on the front end. And apart from that, I was trying to basically explain what exactly we try to do in the project workshop, what kind of activities we are going to be deploying it. Now remember, this is the skill set what you are going to be finding in the JDs, job description. Whether you have experience working as part of implementation project or the support environment, you have knowledge of system landscapes, what are the methodologies you are going to be using for SAP implementation, data migration tools activities, and you have any knowledge in testing the application as well or not. So open any JD, you're going to be having these things mentioned. And that is what we try to cover as part of this particular project. And in today's class, we try to basically discuss few terms and we try to look into the system as well. Now, here, as I mentioned in SAP, you're going to be having two screens to work. That is going to be by default. One, we try to call it as front end, and second, back end. Now, what exactly happens on front end and back end? Front end, as I mentioned, we try to record day-to-day transactions. Now, what do you mean by this particular transaction? We try to keep a record of two set of data. One, we call it as master data, and second data, we name it as transaction data. Day-to-day transaction. For example, customer is trying to place an orders, sales order, purchase orders. Please try to check out your connections because from my end, everything seems to be okay. So sales orders, purchase orders, inbound delivery. And we have the concept of outbound deliveries. Stock coming in, stock going out. So we name it as inbound and outbound deliveries. And at the same time, we try to work out with incoming payments and outgoing payments. We have production orders, assembly orders. These are all going to be part of your transaction data. Okay, so this is what happens in the business. So they keep a record of sales order, purchase order, inbound deliveries. These are all examples of your transaction data where values keep on changing. Master data, values are going to be constant. Now, for example, customer records, customer data, material data, or we try to call it as material record, vendor record, or few companies or few people call it as supplier record. Who is supplying the stock? Details related to that particular customer. details related to the vendor, details related to the material. Where values are going to be constant, we try to call it as master data. So these are the two activities which will be performed on the front end application. Apart from these two, we are going to be using front end for running the reports. We run the reports. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about running the reports, when you keep a record of master data, transaction data, then only these reports are going to be executed. And we can know what is the sale done in a day, in a week, in a month. We can have all that particular reports generated. And we can do the data analysis. This is all the activities which will be done on the front end. And this front end is going to be under the control of SAP end users. They work on it. Whereas when we try to talk about backend, we try to build SAP application. It's simple, we try to develop the software. And this will be under the control of SAP consultants. So we are going to be acting as a consultant and we work on the backend screen. We are not going to be working in the real time on the front end. How activities need to be performed on the front end, that is what we try to develop in the back end. So as a consultant, what is going to be your job role? That is what we try to look now. Job role of SAP consultants when you're working in the project. We are going to be performing three roles. First, we name it as SAP analyst. Second, we act as SAP configurator. And third, we act as SAP tester. In the real time, you people also will be performing all the three roles. If your project budget is big, if team size is big, you're going to be finding different people performing different roles. Otherwise, a single person is going to be performing all the three roles. So this course has been designed to get exposure working in these three roles. Along with that, end user job role. Okay, we are going to be developing the system at the same time. We try to record the transactions on the system itself. Now, when I'm trying to talk about the analyst, what exactly we are going to be doing it up? We get into the client location. Who want to use SAP? We get into that particular business. We try to study the business and we collect the requirements. How they want to use SAP application. That is what we do as an analyst. Collect the business requirement. Which business want to use SAP? What solutions need to be mapped into SAP? That is what we try to collect from them. Once you collect the business requirements, we try to build the application. Build SAP application. That is what we do as a configurator. Third, once you build the application, we need to perform testing. Without testing, I cannot ask my client or business to use SAP software. These are the three roles what we try to perform. We collect the requirements, we build the product, we perform testing. Without testing, you cannot ask end users to work on the front end to record master data or transaction data. So this is what we try to focus on in detail. Okay. Yeah. A budget is small and you don't have that many resources need to be deployed. So we try to perform all the three roles itself. Yes, we do have it. So just like your normal tester, we have it in the market. So in SAP, we are going to be having SAP tester itself. So he need to have knowledge on working on the front end. So we give the requirements what need to be tested, and he will be doing all the testing activities, and he will be finding out the bugs, and he will be updating it to the consultant for the developers. Yep. Now, apart from these two things, you may be hearing this particular term who will be called as an implementation partner, or you name them as service providers. Now, implementation partners are nothing but who build SAP. Okay. Now, SAP itself is acting as one of the implementation partner. They have their own clients. Apart from that, we have IBM, TCS, Wipro, Accenture. Like this, we have different software companies who will be acting as implementation partners because they are going to be the official partners of SAP. They have the license to provide service on SAP platform. And people who work in these companies will be given a designation called as consultants. Now, we have one more term on the name of client, or we name it as business. Now, this client and business is nothing but they give the project to us to work. So it can be any kind of trading companies or service oriented companies, or we have manufacturing companies which are using SAP application. Now, you name different industry verticals, SAP is having a solution for that. So in the automobile sectors, you're going to be finding Audi, BMW, Mercedes is using SAP application. Again, in oil and gas sector, you're having HP, we are having BP, we are having Shell, ONGC, all oil and gas companies across the globe is using SAP. In the retail sector, we have Walmart. Indian market, we have DMart. We have Heritage Group, Patanjali Group. They are using SAP application. Again, big names like Tata, Reliance is using SAP. If you go for the apparel sector, we have Shoppers Stop, which is using SAP. That is one company I know it. And in the banking space, SBI. American Express is using SAP application. In the pharmaceutical sector, the big name Sun Pharma is using it. Redis Lab is using it. Torrent Pharma is using it. There are a lot of companies which are using SAP. So the scope for SAP is not small, it's very big. And it's not small application with limited features. We have infinity features available in SAP. How you want to mold this application based on the business requirements, we can do that. Lot of flexibility has been provided. That is the reason this particular SAP is never ending or dying in the market. It's having a good research team. Right now, they are trying to use AI technology as well for recording the transactions. They're making front-end application more easy. We can use AI technology on SAP for recording business transactions as well. They're adapting the new technology available in the market, and they are trying to build their particular product in more effective way. Okay. So please don't, if you hear a lot of people saying that there will be no growth in SAP, no, you're going to be having a growth. It's not that it's going to be dying very soon. No, it's not going to be getting died, or no recession will be hit when you work on SAP. Because if company want to record their transactions, they will be using the software. So your jobs are not going to be that much in a tough way. It's going to be good. You will be having a good package in the recession as well. Now, in today's session, apart from understanding these terms, I'm trying to work out with the system navigation. So how you're going to be logging into SAP application and what are the screens on which we try to work. Now, please remember, right now, I'm trying to work out on a remote system where my server is maintained at a different location. I'm trying to log into that particular server. Now, who will be doing this SAP installation? We have a separate team who will be taking care of it. We call it as SAP software installation. We have SAP server will be developed by basis team. Basis team need to set up this one before you log into the system. So you're going to be finding in any project landscape, SAP system landscape. This is what your basis team will be deploying it. You're going to be having three different servers to work. One, we try to call it as development server. Second, quality server. And third is going to be the production server. Development server is where we try to build the application. We try to build the application. Quality server, training will be provided. Training and UAT is what we try to call it as user acceptance testing. Third, production server, live transactions are going to be recorded. We are going to be having three servers to perform different roles. In development server, we build the application. In quality server, we perform user training. I'm just trying to call it as end user training and UAT. In production server, live transactions will be done. The same thing is going to be deployed in any project you're going to be working. So right now I'm having access to work on development server. I'm going to be logging into the system and I'm going to be showing you the screens how to work it out. So how to log in on your work machine? We need to make sure SAP logon pad need to be installed, or you can call it as SAP GUI as well. And we have an abbreviation maintained for this GUI, which stands for your graphical user interface. And this will be occupying a space of maximum 700 MB on your laptops or desktop. And this is how it is going to be looking. This is what we try to call it as logon pad. As a consultant, this is the only way of how you log into the system and build the application. Okay. Now, when we double click on it, a new screen is going to be getting opened up over here. And what server access I have, it will be displayed. In the project, you also will be finding all these servers getting displayed up over here. On which server you need to work, that details will be shared by the basis department. Okay, so in a project, how this communication will be done? Through mail. So when you join any particular project, they will be giving you some welcome notes and they will be providing you the system access on which you need to work. So if you want to know the properties of any particular system, select that particular system, right click on it, click on properties. So this is what you need to get it from your basis department. If these details are not shared, you cannot log into the system. Okay. So right now I'm trying to work on the S4HANA system. And when you double click on it, this how the screen is going to be looking. This how the screen will be looking. Now, before we try to log in into the application, now, what does this particular term S4 represent? S4 represent Simplified Business Suite for HANA. This is what we try to call it as S4 HANA. This is what we try to call it as name of SAP application on which you try to work. Okay. Now, HANA is going to be different. As for HANA is going to be different. Both of them are not same. HANA, we are going to be calling it as a database. This is what we try to call it as DB, database. So whatever data you are going to be saving in SAP S4 will be getting updated in this database. And we have an abbreviation maintained for this HANA where it stands for High Performance Analytic Appliance. That is what you mean by HANA, where you will be finding H has been picked, AN from analytic and A from the appliance. That is what you name it as HANA. And this is basically a powerful database. Why? This database has been purely designed based on row plus column format. Normally, when you work on SQL or Oracle, the database has been designed based on row format, not on column format. Whereas this HANA database has been designed based on row plus column format. And what advantage you are going to be getting it if database is built in this particular format? One, transaction recording is going to be faster. System will be taking very small amount of time for recording the transaction. Second, reports generation will be faster. Again, we were getting a lot of issues from the business companies which were using SAP that system is taking lot of time to run the reports. That is the reason SAP need to come out with this particular database where system will be taking small amount of time to run the reports. Okay, so this is the reason this database has been built. Now, which one came into the existence first, application or the database? So first database was released in the market, and this database was released in the year 2011 when it went live. They were not doing any kind of changes with the application level. They were improving the database. Once database has been developed, then they started releasing application which can run only on HANA database. If you want to run this application on any third-party databases, it will be not supported. If you want to run this application or SQL on Oracle, no. You can use only HANA database for that. And first version of SAP application was released in 2015. We have a 10th month. We try to call it as 1510. First two letters represent year, second two letters represent month. Second version of it was released in 1610. Third version 1710. Fourth version 1809. And then we have 1910 version. After that, next version was 2020 release. Now here, from here, naming convention has been changed to year format. So every year you're going to be finding SAP application has been updated. So 2021 release, 2022 release, 2023 release. Now the latest release in the market is 2024. Now from here to here, we have not got any changes related to sales. So if you're working on 2020 release, if you're working on 2024 release, you're going to be having same features deployed in SD module. No changes. Yeah, you can still work on 2024. No. The front end changes has been done more when compared to the back end. The Fiori application screen development is much easy to work on 2024 when you work on 16th. UI has been changed. And there are some apps which has been deleted because that has been outdated. So that apps has been deleted and it has been replaced by new apps in 2024 release. Okay. Now this is how it's going to be working. So in 2025, you're going to be expecting one more release from SAP for sure, because a lot of developments has been taken care now. No, not like that, because that will be now every year when they try to release a new version in SAP, they will be releasing the notes. What all changes has been done. So you just need to learn that particular changes, not the entire application level. But that is going to be with reference to module specific. If any changes has been done, then it will be released. Otherwise, no. So as of now, the system access on which I'm trying to work out is going to be 2022. This is the place where you can find that one. So here I'm working on 2022 release, and this is how the screen is going to be looking. Welcome screen. Let it be end user or consultants. This is going to be the same page on which we work. And every one of you will be having your own credentials to log into the system. So here I'm trying to maintain my username and password to log into the application. And if you're trying to enter your password wrongly for more than 3 times, account will be blocked. Your username will be blocked because of the security reasons. You need to put a request to the basis department and they try to unblock it. Okay. And in which language you want to log in, you can log into the application in that particular language. If you want to log in Hindi, we can do that, but not in Telugu. If you want to log in any other language, in Mandarin, French, Arabic, SAP has provided that particular option to log in that language as well. So that is the reason SAP is used by all the countries. And once you click on enter, this is how the screen is going to be looking, which we name it as easy access screen. And this screen is going to be under the control of users, not consultants. We are not going to be working in the real time on this particular stage. We are not going to be working on this particular page. We don't work at all. This is going to be under the control of users, which I mentioned just now. So they work on the screen called as SAP Easy Access, which we try to call it as front end, where they are going to be recording master data, transaction data, and run the reports. Now, from this particular screen, if you want to get into the backend, we are going to be using a transaction code called as SPR. We call this one as a command box. In this command box, we try to enter the commands. In SAP terms, we are not going to be calling it as commands. We try to call it as transaction codes. Or in short, we name it as T codes. Now, the first T code we are trying to work it out is going to be SPRO, where it stands for SAP Reference Objects. For all T codes, you don't have an abbreviation. For few, we have an abbreviation maintained. So we'll enter that particular transaction code over here. Click on enter, and this will be taking us to the backup page. Whatever project has been allocated to you, that project details will be shown up over here. Okay, every project will be having a project name. Now let me try to show you. This is my project on which I'm trying to work it out. It's totally based on agro-based chemical industry. So where we have a lot of documentations which will be done. I don't know, I've maintain it properly or not. Okay, so here you will be finding the project name. This is how the real-time documentations are going to be prepared, and we try to share it to the business. This is going to be the project name, and this particular project name is what is going to be put down in this particular page over here. So there may be multiple projects in a project on which you can work it out. So you need to select the project and you need to click on SAP reference IMG to get into the backend. When we click on it, this is the backend screen where as a consultant we try to work. And this particular screen is what we call it as display IMG screen. So please remember, it's always going to be backend where we are going to be working, not on the front end. Yeah, every project will be having it. So this is the one. IMG screen is what we try to call it as. And we have an abbreviation maintained for this IMG as well. So IMG stands for Implementation Guide. IMG stands for Implementation Guide. And this is a place where we try to do all the development activities. And as an SD consultant, you're going to be performing all your developments as part of this particular module. So when you try to expand this particular sales and distribution, we have different activities which can be done as part of SD. So if you try to expand these basic functions, these are all the topics on which you are going to be getting trained on. So pricing functionalities, free goods, bonus buy, taxes, all these particular topics. It's a project manager who will be doing that one. We don't have the access for that. And if you want to come back, this is an option. Try to click on this back option. Click on this back option. We'll land up in this particular page. And if you want to know more about the system knowledge, try to click on system from the menu bar. Click on the system, click on status. Lot more information will be shown up over here. This is what we call it as system number. Okay, so you're going to be having system numbers to log into the application. I just had one document now. This is how it is going to be looking. So in what system you need to work, you're going to be having system numbers maintained, and you need to log in into that particular system and you need to work on that. So this in the real time will be sharing up. So which username, in which language, on which date we have logged in, all that details will be there. And apart from that, you can find this particular option, SAP system data. What is the name of the version on which we try to work? If you try to click on it, this will be showing you the information. Try to click on install product version. And right now I'm working on S4HANA on-premise edition 2022 release. Okay. Now the project on which I'm trying to work is having a different version. I need to connect to the service. Okay, I am not able to log in because I have my security reasons for that. I need to connect to the VPN and I need to put down my username and password, and then only I can log in. But this is how you're going to be finding it out. This is one thing you need to know when you try to log into the system. Check out the name of the version. And if you want to know the name of the database, you can try to scroll down over here. You can find the name of the database on which we try to work. HDB, where H stands for HANA, DB stands for database. Now, can we install SAP directly on our laptop? The entire software we can install it on the laptop. So premise one, can we install it? Yeah, on your Mac or in your laptops or desktops, we can do that. Yeah. Now this you cannot install it. Reason for that, I required almost around 1024 RAM for that. GB. So I required almost around 1000 GB RAM, which needed deployed for that. System is going to be very fast. We require a big capacity of RAM and we require big capacity of hard disk as well. Because there are going to be different applications which are going to be getting loaded and executed. So you can just have the front end on which you can work it out. Back end or installation is not going to be possible at all. Okay. So this is a small introduction related to the system, how the front end and the back end is going to be looking. So we have another user interface as well, which we name it as Fiori. So tomorrow I'm going to be showing you that Fiori application, how we are going to be recording the transaction using Fiori. And I'm going to be starting with the first class related to sales and distribution as well. So what exactly we try to do as part of SD module, I try to give you some knowledge on that and we try to get into the subject. Okay. As we go on with the subject, there are going to be a lot of things how the system navigation need to be done. I'm going to be explaining it in the real time, how documentations are going to be prepared and maintained. We try to discuss that. So how you are going to be interacting with the business, how you are going to be collecting the data, and once you have collected that particular data, how it need to be documented and executed. We are going to be working with each and everything. I'm going to be sharing some of the documentations as well for your reference so that you can understand in the real time how you prepare, so that you can use that as a templates, and when you get an opportunity to work in the project, you can use that templates and you can work on it. So I'm just trying to stop it over here. So we try to meet up tomorrow and we try to continue this one. Thank you guys.